What's up, everybody? Feels like it's been a while for some reason, but here we go again with another beginner's yoga class. Hopefully, you've been enjoying that first round and that first session, and I hope that that's been really helping you kind of begin your yoga practice or get back into it. And now we'll take things a little bit further. So this practice will be a little bit more challenging. We'll add some more strength building kind of pieces to the practice. We'll see how that goes as we can maybe develop some strength and add some different poses to the practice that might challenge us in a new way. So before we start, we'll go ahead and get our breathing aligned with our movement, because always, as yoga is the practice of paying attention, our beginner's mind is kind of trying to bring us to that spot where we want to pay attention to all the new stuff that's happening while remembering how to pay attention and notice the things that we're familiar with. So as we integrate, we'll start with our breath. Take a tall seat. I recommend sitting up onto a block if you have it. So have your two blocks in front of you if you have them, and take one and sit on it. Or you could grab a blanket, a pillow, anything that you can sit on to just elevate your hips a little bit. The reason we do that is because it helps us sit up taller with more ease on the spine, so we can get good posture, but without as much work to sit up tall. And that'll make it easier to breathe as you relax your shoulders, rest your hands in your lap, maybe even close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and then exhale out your nose. Inhale deeply through your nose, and again out your nose. Now continue to breathe like this for a few rounds, and then I'll begin to guide your rhythm for breathing. As I guide the rhythm, if at any point it becomes uncomfortable, feel free to relax your breath, take a natural breath, and then try to rejoin and see if you can maintain this guided rhythm. We'll just do an inhale for 4 and an exhale for 4. Wherever you are in your breath cycle, empty your lungs, so exhale all the way out. Begin the first inhale to a rhythm of 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, nice and even. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Smooth exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Final round. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Steady, smooth exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. If the 4 count breathing was relatively comfortable, continue to breathe with that 4 count. Maybe you adjust to 3 a little bit lower, or you adjust up to 5 if you feel like you can go a little further and still be comfortable. Take that deeper breath with you, and with your next inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, twist to your right, lower your left hand to your right knee, and your right hand behind you. Press down into your sit bones that are on your blocker pillow right now. And on an inhale, reach up through the top of your head to lengthen your spine. As you exhale, look over your right shoulder, twisting a little bit more deeply. Inhale and lift your right arm up to your right ear. Exhale, cross your right arm over your left. Bend your elbows, find eagle arms, bringing the palms together. Inhale, lift your elbows and reach them forward. Now remember, we can always wrap the arms around to the shoulder blades if eagle arms doesn't quite work for us. Exhale, draw your elbows into your belly, regardless of how you've placed your arms. Inhale and unravel your arms, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, twist to the left, lower your left arm behind you, and your right hand on top of your left knee. Inhale to root through your sit bones as you reach up through the top of your head. And exhale, twist a little deeper, look over your left shoulder. Inhale, lift your left arm to your left ear. Exhale, cross your left arm over your right arm. Now you can round the spine to help you stack your elbows, but as you wrap to eagle arms or wrap your arms around your back, keep your elbows on top of one another. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, squeeze your elbows to your belly, draw your chin to your chest, empty your lungs. Inhale to unravel the arms and sweep them out and up. Exhale, place your right hand down to your right side and lean over to your right while reaching your left arm up and out to the right. So not just over to the right, but up and then out. Feel the length on the left side of your body. Inhale and turn your chest up towards the ceiling more. Exhale, start to root down into your left sit bone. Lower your left arm and inhale to lift your right arm up. Lean over to the left as you place your left hand down. And as you exhale, reach over to the left with your right fingertips. Remember to reach up and out and then over to the left. On inhale, turn your chest up. Exhale, start to root into your right sit bones. Lower your right arm, come back up through center, and settle here. Bring your palms together, interlace your fingers. On an inhale, press your palms forward and lift your arms up. Back bending as you reach back with your arms. Exhale, press your palms down in front of you and then round your spine to push your palms forward. Inhale, lift your arms up. Palms face the ceiling. Exhale, palms press down and then round your spine as you press your palms forward. One more time. Inhale to lift. Palms face up, and as you exhale, press them down. Round your spine forward. Relax your arms, roll up. Sit tall with your spine. Hey there. Let's come off of our block. You can place the blocks off to the side out in front of you so that they're out the way for a little bit. Plant your hands under your shoulders, wrists parallel to the front edge of your mat. Spread your fingers wide and push down into the L between your pointer finger and thumb. So that's this part of the hand, especially that first knuckle where the fingers connect to the rest of your hand. If you push down to that point, the wrists usually stay happier. And by pressing down, you might feel your chest, even your belly and ribs can lift away from the mat. So engage your core as you push the ground away. From this tabletop position, inhale and lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Reach your chest forward. This is cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, draw your chin to your chest, pull your ribs and belly in for cat pose. Inhale, lift your tailbone, lift your chest. Use your breath to find the fullest opening through your chest you can find. And now as you exhale, try to use your exhale to squeeze your core in and round your spine even more. Inhale, tailbone lifts, chest reaches forward. Exhale, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, cat pose. Inhale to lift to cow. Exhale to round to cat. Now stay with your breath, and if it's a little faster or slower than mine, that's fine. Inhale to cow, doing about 3 to 5 more. Exhale to cat. Keep pushing the ground away. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. One more. Inhale, cow. Reach your chest forward. Push the ground away. And exhale, cat. Round your spine. From this rounded cat position, tuck your toes under. Press your hands into the ground. Keep the L of your hands heavy. And now with the belly and ribs drawn in, float your knees up off the mat 1 inch. Whew, feel the core turn on. Now with your knees floating, keep pushing the ground away. Don't sink into your shoulders, but push like you want to push right through the floor. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower your knees, untuck your toes, take your knees wide, keep your big toes together or close, sit your hips back to child's pose. Now sometimes child's pose, like many yogis find this is a resting position or a comfortable position. If this is not comfortable for whatever reason, there's many variations and options to take other than this. Here, forehead usually comes down. If the forehead doesn't come down, you can grab a block and see if that makes it comfortable. That can be comfortable. Or you could take the knees together, and that might be more comfortable. Some people even like toes tucked. I'm one of those people. Toes tucked is not too bad for me because my feet like this. Other options. Some would say that it's more comfortable to lie down on their stomach, turn their head to one side, palms down. Just as restful, still a good position for your posture, and it actually can help you learn to breathe more attentively because you're breathing into the ground. You can also just lie down on your back. You can also just have a seat with your legs in front of you. All of these are resting positions just like child's pose. So because child's pose is the one I call out, and I'm saying, if you ever hear me say take a rest, take a break, all those positions are welcome to you, not just child's pose. Come back up to your tabletop position. That time your break was listening to me talk. This time, push the ground away. Push into the L between your pointer finger and thumb. Tuck your toes under. Round your spine on an exhale. Keep your spine rounded. Float your knees 1 inch off the floor. Now, if you want a little bonus, try to tear your yoga mat in 2 pieces right down the center by pressing your hands in opposite directions. Feel the shoulders work a little harder. As the knees float, keep the ribs and belly drawn in so much that you can look back right between your thighs. Take a deep breath in. On an exhale, lower your knees down slowly. Keep your toes tucked. Sit your heels back on top of sit your hips back on top of your heels. Keep your hands in front of you to start. Broken toe pose can be intense. So decide how much intensity you want today. You might walk up a little bit and say, that's fine, my feet are talking to me now. You might walk your hands up onto your lap and be like, okay, now that's interesting. Most of us find that there is something happening here that could keep us occupied for a few moments. So as you take a moment here, you're also welcome to put a block under your seat. That's a good support. If you feel like even here that's too much, a block there might help it be a little supportive so you can say, okay, I can be here for a couple more breaths. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Excellent. Walk your hands back out in front of you. Untuck your toes. Wiggle them out. Give yourself a little reprieve and rest there. And now, you can sit back on your heels comfortably or sit on your block or your blanket. You can also swing your legs around in front of you however you want to sit to be comfortable. I'm going to warm up the wrists a little bit before we continue with our core warm up and building. Take your hands, spread your fingers very wide, and just start to circle like you're doing figure eights through your wrists. So the palms will flip to the ceiling, and then they'll flip down to the floor. Big circle over to the ceiling, big circle over to the floor. And just see if you can get that to be somewhat familiar of a movement. And now while keeping that movement, start to close your fists and see if you can keep the movement. Now, once you get the hang of that, open your hands, keep the figure eight going, and then close. And then open, and then close. And then maybe you start to move in different directions, still playing with that full range of motion in your wrist, but go the other direction. Maybe you change up the pattern, going back and forth. Maybe one hand's going one way while the other hand's going the other way. Play with your brain just as much as you play with your body on your yoga mat. That's always fun. Or at least I find it interesting. You let me know what you think. All right. Once you feel your forearms starting to warm up, make sure you're breathing. And then after a couple spicy breaths, once you feel some heat and you've taken a few, shake your hands out, interlace your fingers, bring your elbows together, and just take a few slow rolls with the hands together through your wrists, figure eight. Change directions. Hopefully the wrists feel pretty warm and in a good way. Shake out your hands, walk your hands out in front of you, return to your tabletop position. Now from your tabletop position, push the ground away. Draw your belly and ribs in, tuck your toes. But this time, on your inhale, lift your tailbone, lift your chest. Cow pose. Take your exhale, float your knees, and then lift your hips up and back while pressing your chest back to your thighs for downward facing dog. No obligation to straighten your legs. So the knees can be bent, the hips can lift up. Just try to get your spine to be straight by relaxing your head. Press your chest to your thighs and bend your knees as much as you need to lift your hips up and back. Now, once you get here in some sort of vicinity, notice the effort in the shoulders, but also push down into the feet. See if that helps you lift your hips a little higher. Draw your belly and ribs in and press your chest back a little more. Very nicely done. I know it's happening. I know it. I'm feeling it. Are you? Take a deep breath in through your nose. Full exhale out through your nose. One more breath in. And as you exhale, lower down to your knees. Take whatever resting pose you like. Maybe that's child's pose with the knees wide and the forehead down, the arms can reach forward. Maybe that's child's pose with the knees together and the arms reaching back and the shoulders can hang heavy. Wherever you take your rest, focus on your exhales. Let your exhale be deep. Let it go through your nose. Let it still be controlled, but accentuate it to really dial into that expression of release, the down regulation that your breath does naturally. The inhale brings energy in. The exhale gets rid of waste. So you've already used the energy that you needed to complete that downward facing dog. Anything else that's in the way, let it just leave in this moment. You've already done the work. Slowly roll back up. Come to your tabletop position. A lot of tabletop today, so if the wrists get funky or start to talk to you in a way that is not, helpful, feel free to pause the video for a day. This is also a wrist strengthening beginner yoga class because a lot happens on the wrist. So notice what your wrist's like, and you can always take a blanket and place it under the heel of your hands to reduce the pressure on your wrist. So I would say you don't want the blanket folded quite too high because you still want to be able to get all your knuckles down, but the heel of my hand is on the blanket and it reduces the pressure on my wrist. So that is one solid tip. I give that to you now because I realize it has been quite a bit of wrist work and we're going to go into a little bit more. So as you plant your hands, press the ground away, draw your belly and ribs in. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale, lift your tailbone, lift your chest, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Keep your spine rounded, tuck your toes. And now slowly straighten your legs back behind you. Squeeze your thighs together. High plank. This is the top of a push-up. Now if you get here and you're like, wait, that's a little too much for the shoulders, a little too much for the core, go back to bending your knees and hovering your knees and just hold it a little longer. If you're up here in high plank with me, push the ground away, draw your belly and ribs in, squeeze your thighs together and breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. If you feel your hips getting a little collapsy, squeeze your butt and then squeeze your core. Just let it be hard. Let yourself shake. Figure out what you're capable of when you can really zone in to your breathing, your body working together. 3 more breaths in. And on this next exhale, lower your knees down slow. And as you lower your knees down, lower your chest and your belly down all the way to the mat. You deserve that rest. Turn your head to one side, reach your arms back, and relax. Now press your toenails down into the floor. So much so that you feel your knees gently lift. Draw your low belly in until you feel your hips on the floor. Once you feel your hips touching the floor, turn your head down, forehead down, and with the belly drawn in, inhale and lift your chest up. Don't worry about looking forward. Look at the ground in front of you, but try to keep the belly drawn in so your hips are on the ground. Lift the arms and reach back towards the toes. Press the legs down as you inhale and lift your chest up. Exhale, belly draws in. Hips get heavy. One more breath in. And exhale to relax. Turn your head to the other side, so the opposite ear finds your mat. Bring your hands under your shoulders, palms down. Spread your fingers wide and squeeze your elbows into your belly. So if you're looking at me right now, this might be a slightly awkward position for the hands. You could always walk them back a little bit or forward because we're not going to put too much weight in them. Just squeeze your elbows in, press down through your toenails, draw your belly in. When your hips reach the mat, inhale, lift your chest, and this time really reach it forward as you lift. See if you can lift a little higher and maybe float your hands off the mat. Feel your shoulders engage. Beautiful. Deep breath in through your nose and exhale through the nose. Keep drawing the core in. One more breath. And as you exhale, relax down to your mat. Pick whichever side you feel like is most comfortable to turn your head to. Bend your knees and gently lower your feet to left and right like windshield wipers. Be as gentle as you need to be, just letting the spine almost get a little release, a little rock to unwind. Straighten your legs. Press yourself back up to tabletop. As you get to your tabletop position, shake it all out of your body. Did a lot there. We're gonna do one more downward facing dog, but we're gonna take this into some work for our hips. So as you push down into your hands, tuck your toes under. Inhale, lift your tailbone, lift your chest for cow pose. Lift your knees up, press your hips back. As you press your chest back towards your thighs, downward facing dog. Get your spine to be as straight as possible by pressing your chest to the thighs and lifting the hips as you bend your knees. Inhale and look forward, come up high on your toes. As you exhale, step your right foot between your hands, behind your right hand, or over to the right. Between your hands will be the most demand on your hip. Behind your right hand will be a little less. If you step it over to the right, that'll be usually the most comfortable for us. And we're just going to find blocks or books under our hands. So you could use pretty much anything solid to stand on. You could even have like your sofa or a chair right in front of you. Say you had a chair in front of you. There's your makeshift at-home block or an ottoman or something weird like that. I don't know how fancy you are. You decide. Whatever you got. Hands planted on something. Organize your legs so that your right knee is right over your right ankle and your left leg is pretty much straight. Now to help your left leg straighten, push back through your left heel, but bend into your right knee. Ooh. Now once you feel like you're at your limit for how far you could go but still stand up on your own legs, squeeze your thighs together. Notice how much weight you could take out of your hands. Maybe you could take enough weight out of your hands that just your left hand could come up to the fingertips. And then maybe just your right hand could come up to the fingertips. And now with the right hand up on the fingertips, maybe the right hand floats and reaches forward. Inhale and lift your chest a little bit more. Exhale, plant your hand, lower your back knee down, your left knee. As you lower your left knee down, untuck the toes and press your left shin down into the floor. As you press your left shin down, you can bend your right knee more deeply to stretch your left hip while pushing into your blocks to lift your chest. Now, if you find that the front of your left hip is stretching, but you want more stretch there, try to draw the hip forward as you draw your right hip back. So it's like you're turning your pelvis to center forward and then walk your hands up to your right knee to lift your chest a little more. To really accentuate how you're feeling that, draw your low belly in. Use an exhale to do so, and you might feel the front of your left hip extend even more, just stretching a little more. And each time you exhale, you can reinforce that core engagement that'll help that stretch deepen. For those of you who want to go one step further, you're welcome to inhale and lift the left arm. And exhale, place your hands back down to your blocks. Shift your hips back in space, straightening your right leg. Inhale and reach your chest forward. As you exhale, you can fold over your right leg, but keep your right hip drawing back. You could even use a thumb in your right hip crease to press it back while you reach your chest forward and fold. Find your breath, focus on the exhale. Let that be the point of release. Let that be the point where you're letting go of any of the tension that you're feeling that's like, oh, I could go further if I didn't feel that thing in my hamstring, if I didn't feel that thing in my hip. See if an exhale will let you just move right through it. Let it walk right out of your body. Plant your hands back to your blocks. Rock your hips forward. And then slide your right foot back to bring your shin back to the mat. And just switch sides. Left foot will now step forward. As the left foot steps forward between your blocks, off to the left, right behind your left hand, wherever you find your spot. Bend your left knee. Tuck your toes on your right foot, back foot. Find the blocks under your hands. Lift your right knee up. As you press the right heel back and straighten the right leg, bend the left knee so your ankle is right under your knee. Draw your belly in for core stability and gently squeeze the inner thighs together while you reach your chest forward. And once you're here, it's just you and your breath. Relax your face, relax your jaw. A gentle smile is always helpful for finding that point right between like a lot of effort, but then just enough ease. Take a deep breath in. See if maybe you can get lighter on your hands. Maybe the left hand is the only hand down and you come to the right fingertips. And then maybe you switch and come up onto your left fingertips. Lift your left arm up alongside your left ear for one more breath in. Exhale, plant the hands. Lower your right knee down to the mat. Untuck your toes. Press down through your shin and bend your left knee deeply, letting your hips draw forward. As the hips draw forward, you're welcome to draw the low belly in right away. That is how we would get the most sensation on the front of the right hip. And then from there, maybe you walk your blocks back to lift your chest a little more and press down. Maybe you bring your hands up to your left knee, but remember to keep the low belly drawn in and let your hips sink forward to really lengthen the front of the right hip. Left hip is drawing back in space while the right hip is drawing forward, so the hips are squared towards the front of your mat to the best of your ability. And then find those parts of your body that may be tense, that don't need it. Like maybe it's your shoulders. Sometimes I'll find my shoulders like going up here. Let them relax. Notice if your tongue is like pressing to the roof of your mouth. Can it relax? And where's your gaze? Can it relax? Plant your hands on your blocks. Press your hips back in space and straighten your left leg. The toes can lift right up off the mat as you straighten the leg. And then as you pull the toes back towards your face, left thumb into the left hip crease to draw the hip back. Inhale and reach your chest forward. And let the exhale fold you over your left leg. Slowly use your blocks to rock your hips forward. As you make your way forward, bend the left knee, tuck your right toes, lift your back knee, take a deep breath in, and on exhale, maybe in 3 steps, maybe in 2, maybe in 1 big step, step your right foot forward to meet your left and fold over your legs. If you've been following our Black Men Bend Let's Start Yoga Challenge, it's something that'll be up on Instagram. Even if this is like years later, you can go check it out. But a lot of these poses have been poses that we've used to introduce and welcome people to start yoga. So if you're a true beginner, I hope that this has been really helpful up until this point. We're gonna try one more thing that might be one of the hardest things for beginner yogis. And if you've made it this far, it's okay to try hard things that you're not able to do sometimes, because now you have a goal, you have something you can work towards. You have something that, is out there that you're like, okay, that's on my to-do list, but I have some things I have to do before I get there. And that can sometimes motivate us to discover new stuff that we never would have even dove into, new experiences and new abilities within ourselves that maybe, could be a surprise to yourself what you're able to do. Take your blocks in front of you just in case you need them. From a forward fold, walk your feet a little bit wider apart so they're a little wider than your hips, and then turn your toes out slightly. Bend your knees and let your butt and hips sink down in between your heels. Now as you sink, see how low you can go, like just chilling. And then when you get to a point where you're like, okay, I don't know if I can go any lower, try to press your knees away from each other, push into the pinky toe side of your foot. Don't lift and roll onto it, but just push like you wanted to tear your mat again. And then see if you can sink the hips a little lower. And however low you get, eventually, just come on down to a seat. However you gotta get down, take your time. Get down safely. It's okay to challenge yourself and figure out where you can go, but then safety first. As you reach the mat, roll down onto your back, hug your knees into your chest. Take your arms out to a T. Inhale deeply. And exhale to lower your knees to the right, stacking them on top of one another to the best of your ability, and maybe taking one of your blocks, books, or pillows between your knees, just to help this be more comfortable. Keep a little space between the knees can be helpful. You can rest your right hand on top of your thighs if you'd like. Just allow your left shoulder to rest on the ground. Do not forget about your exhales. Especially if you find yourself coming up on tension. Or if you find yourself in a spot where, relaxation is not coming as easily as you'd like it. Like if you want to relax more, focusing on your exhale could allow you to do that. And that's something that we can take off of our mat with us after we practice as well. With a slow, steady inhale, lift your knees up through center. No rush to get there. Take your time. And then with a smooth exhale, lower your knees over to the left, switching sides. And notice the difference between the two sides in your twist. I find that one side is quite different. I usually feel one side is much easier to twist into. One side allows me to stack my knees more easily. Like one side, some days I like a block, whereas the other side I won't. So you decide based on what's showing up in your body, and just allow yourself to pay attention. If you find like, oh, it's hard to breathe right now, maybe use the block to reduce some of the twist. Also, you can lower your knees away from you to make breathing more easy. And if you want more twist, you can lift your knees a little closer to your elbow that they're under to deepen the twist. As long as you can still breathe and get your right shoulder on the mat, you're clear to explore. Use an inhale to lift your knees up. And as you exhale, hug your knees into your chest. One more big squeeze here. And we're going to take a happy baby pose. So you can take your elbows inside your knees and then bring your hands to the outer edges of your shins, ankles, or feet. which means that there's some level of flexibility needed in the hips just to reach here. So maybe you're just holding on here. Maybe you hold the back of your knees and start here, because from holding the back of your knees, you can start by drawing the knees towards your armpits. This will be step one. If you're getting to the point where your elbows are on the ground, that might mean you can go to step two. Reach your elbows inside your knees, grab for your ankles. Get to your ankles pretty easily. Try to walk your hands to the outer edges of your feet, and then turn the bottoms of your feet up to the ceiling, bringing your heels over your knees as much as possible. So instead of here, or even like here, see if you can bring the heels here, and then pull your knees down into your armpits like you were just gonna tuck them in. Once you get in position, you can rock around left to right, forward and backwards. It's like a nice little personal back massage. Any of those spots that worked hard earlier that feel a little tense could get rolled out right now. And once you're ready, use an exhale to relax your legs out in front of you. Take your feet wider than your hips so that your hips can be heavy and relaxed. Relax your arms to your sides, a little bit away from the sides of your body, with your palms up so that your shoulders can be heavy. Lengthen the back of your neck by drawing your chin to your chest. And then as you place your head back down, try to place your neck down before your head, lengthening your neck. Relax your breath into its natural rhythm. Let your body be still. And let your mind join your breath and body in the activity of doing nothing. This pose is known as Shavasana or corpse pose. And some of the ancient yogis say it's the most difficult pose in yoga, or one of them. Because in this pose, we're trying to detach ourselves from all the little identities of who we think we are. And one of the best ways that I've found to practice is to just be with who I am right now, be with where I'm at. Where I am on my mat, in the room, in my body, my breath, and my mind. Let it all be an expression of right now, this present moment. If the rest of your day is calling to you to continue, you're welcome to begin to find gentle movements in your body. You're also welcome to stay here for as long as you like if rest is still motion for the moment. If you are moving on with your day, with your gentle movements or long stretch, eventually bend your knees, roll to one side, and make your way up to a seat. Taking a moment once you're in that seat to settle on your sit bones and take notice of all the things that have come up in your practice, all the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations. And know that everything you've done to work with and through those things that came up in each of those moments is available to you at any time. The strength, the ability to breathe, the ability to release. It's available to you on and off of your yoga mat. So as you take that with you in this gesture of Anjali Mudra, known for a gift of offering, as we make an offering of our practice to ourselves, to each other, to our entire community, we'll seal it with one more breath of intention. Inhale deep. And as you exhale, release. Thank you all for your time, your energy, and your practice. Namaste. And have a great day. Hopefully that was great for you. I enjoyed it, and I hope it left you feeling better than you did when you got here. If it did, feel free to hit me up, like, comment, not likes. What am I talking about? This is not Instagram. See what social media has done to us? No, but comments and emails to give me feedback are always helpful. I really appreciate you even taking the time to be this consistent to have gotten to the second beginner yoga video. So your feedback at this point is like very pertinent and very helpful for me, as I'm here for you. Hopefully this, like I said, made your day better than it was before you got here. And I hope that you continue to have many more great days.